ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवती नैष्ठिकी। Hare Krishna. Today we continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto First, Chapter 13. Dhṛtarāṣṭra quits a home. Shloka number 22 to 24. Andha pura eva vadira
अंधः पुरा एव वधिरः
manda pragyaha sampratam
मंदप्रज्ञाः च साम्प्रतम्
vishirna danta manda agnihi
विशीर्णदन्तः मन्दाग्निः
saragah kapam udvahan
सरागः
udvahan
कफम् उद्वहन्
udvahan अहो महीयसी जंतो हो
अहो महीयसि जन्तोः
जीवित आशा यथा भवान
जीवित आशा यथा भवान्
भीम अपवर्जितम पिंडम
भीम अपवर्जितं पिण्डम्
आदत्ते गृहपालवत्
आदत्ते गृहपालवत्
अग्निः निसृष्टः दत्तः च
अग्निः निसृष्टदत्तः च
गर्हधारा च दूषिताः
गर्हदाराः च दूषिताः
ऋतं क्षेत्रं धनम् येषां तत्
हृतं क्षेत्रं धन एषां तत्
तैः असुभिः कीयत
दत्तैः रसुभिः कियत
अन्धः पुरा एव वधिरः
अन्धः पुरा एव वधिरः
मन्दप्रज्ञाः च साम्प्रतम्
मन्दः प्रज्ञाः च साम्प्रतम्
विशीर्णदन्तः मन्द अग्निः
विशीर्णदन्तः मन्द अग्निः
स्वराग कफम उद्वहन्
स रागः कफम् उद्वहन्
अहो महीयसी जन्तोः
अहो महीयसि जन्तोः
जीवित आशा यथा भवान्
जीवित आशा यथा भवान्
भीम अपवर्जितं पिण्डम्
भीम अपवर्जितं पिण्डम्
आदत्ते गृहपालवत्
आदत्ते गृहपालवत्
अग्निः निसृष्टः दत्तः च
अग्निः निसृष्टः दत्तः च
गर्हधारा च दूषिताः
गर्हदाराः च दूषिताः
ऋतं क्षेत्रं धनम् येषां तत्
ऋतं क्षेत्रं धनम् येषां तत्
दत्तैः असुभिः कीयत
दत्तैः असुभिः कीयत
अन्धः पुरा एव वधिरः मन्दप्रज्ञः च साम्प्रतम् विशीर्णदन्तः मन्द अग्निः स्वरागकफम् उद्वहन् अहो मयसि जन्तोः जीवित आशा यथा भवान् भीम अपवर्जितं पिण्डम् आदत्ते गृहपालवत् अग्निः निसृष्ट दत्त च गर्हधारा च दूषिताः ऋतं क्षेत्रं धनम् येषां तद्दत्तै असुभिः कीयत। हरे कृष्ण। प्लीज रीड प्रभुजी।
हरे कृष्ण अंधः पुरः एव बधिरः मंडः प्रज्ञः च साम्प्रतम् विशीर्णदन्तः मंदाग्निः सरागः कफम् उद्वहन् अहो महीयसि जन्तः आजीविताः आजीवित आशा यथा भवान् भीम अपवर्जितं पिण्डम् आदत्ते गृहपालवत् अग्निनिसृष्टो दत्तः च गर्भोदाराः च दूषिताः हृतं क्षेत्रं धनम् येषां तद्दत्तैः असुभिः कियत्
कृपामयी माता जी।
कृष्ण दंडतना माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण।
अन्तः पुरा इव वदित्रः मन्दप्रजा च सम्प्रतं विश्राना दन्तः मन्द अग्नि सारः कपम् उद्वहान् अहो महीयसि जन्तो जीवितास् आसा यथा भवान् भीम अपवर्जितं पिण्डम् अतिथि गृहपालवत् अग्निर्निश्रितो दत्ताश्च ग्रहधारा च दुस्तह्य कृतं क्षेत्रं धनं ईसं तत्तिः असुभि कियात्. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Anyone who want to read?
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Srila
You have
Prabhupada,
been
Jagat Guru
blind.
Srila Prabhupada ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You have been blind from your very birth, and recently you have become hard of hearing. Your memory is shortened, and your intelligence is disturbed. Your teeth are loose, your liver is defective, and you are coughing up mucus. Alas, how powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life? Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating remnants of food given by Bhīma. There is no need to live a degraded life and subsist on the charity of those whom you tried to kill by arson and poisoning. You assaulted them, married wife, and usurped their kingdom and wealth. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The symptoms of old age, which had already developed in Dhṛtarāṣṭra, were all one after another pointed out to him as warning that death was nearing very quickly. And still he was foolishly carefree about his future. The signs pointed out by Vidura in the body of Dhṛtarāṣṭra were signs of apaksha or dwindling of the material body before the last stroke of death. The body is born, it develops, stays, creates other bodies, dwindles, and then vanishes. But foolish men want to make a permanent settlement of the perishable body and think that their estate, children, society, country, etc., will give them protection. With such foolish ideas, they become overtaken by such temporary engagement and forget altogether, and they must give up this temporary body and take a new one again to arrange for another term of society, friendship, and love again to perish ultimately. They forget their permanent identity and become foolishly active for permanent occupation, forgetting altogether their prime duty. Saints and sages like Vidura approach such foolish men to awaken them to the real situation, but they take such sadhus and saints as parasites of society, and almost all of them refuse to hear the words of such sadhus and saints. Although they welcome show bottle sadhus and so-called saints who can satisfy their senses, Vidura was not a sadhu to satisfy the ill-forgotten sentiment of Dhṛtarāṣṭra. He was correctly pointing out the real situation of life and how one can save oneself from such catastrophes. A sadhu should never flatter kings as or rich men to live comfortably at their cost. A sadhu is to speak to the householders about the truth of life so that they may come to their senses about the precarious in life in material existence. Dhritarashtra is a typical example of an attached old man in household life. He had become a pauper in the true sense, yet he wanted to live comfortably in the house of Pandavas, of whom Bhima especially is mentioned because personally killed two prominent sons of Dhritarashtra, namely Duryodhana and Dushyasan. These two sons were very much dear to him for their notorious and nefarious activities. And Bhim is particularly pointed out because he killed these two pet sons. Why was Dhritarashtra living there at the house of the Pandavas? Because he wanted to continue his life comfortably, even at the risk of humiliation. Vidura therefore was astonished how powerful is the urge to continue life. This sense of continuing one's life indicates that a living being is eternally a living entity and does not want to change his bodily habitation. The foolish man does not know that a particular term of bodily existence is awarded to him to undergo a term of imprisonment, and the human body is awarded after many, many births and deaths as a chance of self-realization to go back home, back to Godhead. But persons like Dhṛtarāṣṭra try to make plans to live there in a comfortable position with profit and interest, for they do not see things as they are. Dhritarashtra is blind and continues to hope to live comfortably in the midst of all kinds of reverses of life. A sadhu like Vidura is meant to awaken such blind person and thus help them go back to Godhead, where life is eternal. Once going there, no one wants to come back home, to come back to his material world of miseries. We can just imagine how responsible a task is entrusted to a sadhu like Vidura. The systems of a Varnashram religion set aside a part of one's life completely for the purpose of self-realization and attainment of salvation in the human form of life. That is the routine division of life. But persons like Dhritarashtra, even at their very ripened age, want to stay home, even in a degraded condition of accepting charity from enemies. Vidura wanted to point out uh, and impressed upon him that it was better to die like his sons than accept such humiliating charity. 5,000 years ago, there was one Dhritarashtra, but at the present moment, there are Dhritarashtras in every home. Politicians, especially, do not retire from political activities unless they are dragged by the cruel hand of death or killed by some opposing elements. To stick to family life to the end of one's human life is the grossest type of degradation, and there is an absolute need for the Viduras to educate such Dhritarashtra even at the present moment. Om Ajnanaतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जन शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताञ्च. नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्ये च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, Hare Krishna. In three slokas, they're describing about the situation of the Dhritarashtra, how he stick at after all children, all sons death, but he stick and he want to continue his life in um, easily. But Vidura told him, told his instructions, and then he show him how his condition is not in good condition. And after what happened, Prabhuji will tell us in nicely today's shlokas, discussion, and then what happened? We continue another shloka, 8 shlokas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. One question: am I audible right now today?
Yes,
Hari Om.
yes, yes,
If at any point
yes,
of a time you feel that I'm not audible, please escalate. So here we
yes,
are seeing that Vidurji, he has specifically stayed back because he wanted to address his elder brother, who was completely engaged in materialistic lifestyle, who, in spite of such a huge defeat in the Kurukshetra war, was not ready to give up his position, and he was staying there um, in the palace of Yudhishthir Maharaj. The reason being, he thought that there is no other solution than this. There is only this way which he can stay back. And so he was staying there. Actually, it was like living at the mercy of others. And Vidurji wanted to make him understand this fallacy of life because the ultimate problem was fast approaching, which we saw yesterday. And what is that problem? That problem is the Kalaha, or the eternal death. So that is something which cannot be prevented by anyone. And he was about to face it, but still he was materially living. So, without knowledge of the ultimate objective of human life form, the whole every moment, which is very, very valuable, was being wasted completely. And that is why he was waiting there to make him understand these aspects. So he tells him many, many aspects related to it. He starts, he, oh dear brother, please understand what situation you are in right now. You are staying at the mercy of others. And to make him feel bad, he even addressed him sarcastically as king. And still, he found that there was no positive impact. So now he goes further. He tells him, dear brother, you have been blind from birth. But it seems, besides that physical material blindness, you have also become hard of hearing. It seems you have lost your memory as well. And even the intelligence is no longer working. And then it describes the symptoms of old age.
Recording in
How the
progress.
teeth are loose. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. How the teeth have been loosened. How the liver has become defective. How this mucus which is coming out. So all the symptoms of old age get described by Vidura to make him realize that death has already approached him. And then he goes further. He tells that how it is important for us to understand these symptoms and realize the importance of surrenderance to Krishna. So, philosophically, if we are to speak, what indirectly Vidurji is trying to show is the temporary nature.
No sound.
Hare Krishna. What Vidurji is trying to demonstrate is the temporary nature of the material body, how this body is temporary, and how it
No
is.
sound.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Am I audible now? Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
yes.
Yeah. And how
Yes, yes.
it is very important to transcend the physical nature, transcend this material body. Because this body being temporary is always going to be subject to decay. Whatever efforts you do to maintain it, over a period of time, it will inevitably become weak. So, what is important is to nurture the soul, which is eternal and which does not change. So, dear brother, please understand the limitations of the material body, and now at least try to seek liberation. Dedicate yourself to self realization. But still, it seems that there is no change in what his brother is feeling. So, he goes further. Now, here the signs pointed out by Vidura were actually the signs of apakshaya. So apakshaya word which comes here, Prabhupada explains, is dwindling of the material body before the last stroke of death. So yesterday we saw the six changes which happen in the material body. It is born, it develops, it stays, it creates, it dwindles, and then it vanishes. So only foolish people, they think of having a permanent settlement in this perishable body. They think that the whole state to develop the children, the society, country, they will protect them. But since time immemorial, this is one that it is a foolish idea because this is all temporary engagement. In fact, we know of the story of that rich, what I say, jeweler who had created a lot of wealth and who had created a big house. And then one day he died. So when he was alive, his children used to take care of him for the money. When he died, because of his karma, because he used to be always busy in work, shouting on others, he took birth as a dog and he stayed in that same locality in front of his bungalow. And when he wanted to enter the bungalow, his sons kicked him. Oh, who are you? Choo, choo, bhago, bhago. And he was actually thrown out. So he thought that I prepared this house and I'm not allowed to live here. He was feeling very bad, remorseful, and then he died. And then next birth he took that of a snake. And he thought, now that I am slim, I can go in and live in the wealth which I have created. And he wanted to go in, and one of the sons saw him, and he said, oh, here is a snake, here is a snake. And they brought sticks, beat, and killed him. So look at the situation. He worked so hard, but could he enjoy? No. That is why saints and sages like Vidurji approach foolish persons like us to awaken us to our real situation. But unfortunately, at times, before coming to Krishna consciousness, even we were the same who used to think that the sadhus and saints are parasites. And we were hardly ready or eager to hear the words. And that is where the effect of Kali Yuga is increasing. Now, Vidura was not a sadhu who had to satisfy the sentiment of Dhṛtarāṣṭra. No, he was correctly pointing out the real situation of life and guiding him how he can save himself from the catastrophes. And that is why he was telling that your hopes of staying alive are useless. And the current life which you are living is worse than that of a dog. So the stubborn attachment which we have to material positions and ambitions is all entangling us more and more, leading to bondage, suffering. So indirectly, Vidurji is trying to encourage detachment and pursuit of devotion to the Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is our ultimate shelter. And here one more quality of Vidurji comes into picture, that a sadhu should never flatter kings or rich men. He has to speak to the householders the real truth, even if it is very harsh, so that everyone can be brought back to their senses, understand the precarious life in material existence. And this is what Vidurji was trying to make Dhritarashtra understand. Because Dhritarashtra, in spite of the risk of humiliation, was staying with his relatives with whom he had fought, amongst whom Bhīma was the one who had killed his dearmost Duryodhana and Dushasan. So this proves he had a want to continue his life comfortably. So this urge is something which is very, very bad, because we can never be eternal. And we need such sadhus in our life who can awaken us, because we have become blind due to the effects of material nature and illusion of Maya. And then Dhritarashtra is being guided that you don't need to live such life on charity. You simply get into the Vanaprasthashram. Vidurji is reminding Dhritarashtra of all the mistakes which he has done. Whatever he is told, whatever he has taken away from his the Pandavas. So here he wanted Vidurji wanted Dhritarashtra that now you should concentrate only on self-realization and attainment of salvation, because that is the objective of life. So if Dhritarashtra, in spite of so many bad things, was still going to stay at home
No
in
sound.
he was still going to stay at home in degraded condition of accepting charity from enemies, then it was worse than that. Durji is trying to point out this by telling him how he's living a degraded life which need not continue in that way. What we are thinking about is one Dhritarashtra, but practically Prabhupada ji says now we have everyone as Dhritarashtra. And that is why the importance of Bhagavad Gita and its knowledge is all the more relevant. And we need to continue these sessions repeatedly for everyone. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.